Hello traders. Hey, I wanted to take just a few minutes today to give you sort of a startup guide for setting up your thinkorswim monitor page for tracking the progress of options trades. I think this is going to be a very short but interesting discussion, helpful to sort of streamline the effort of tracking what can be a complicated instrument. So let's go right to it. And of course, the first thing that we need to do is discuss the risks associated with trading options. Just know that all corporate or issuer names and market data shown are for illustrative purposes only and not a recommendation, offer to sell, or a solicitation of an offer to buy any security. Options carry a high level of risk and are not suitable for all investors. Schwab does not recommend the use of technical analysis as a sole means of investment research, and investing involves risks, including the loss of principal. All right, but let's go right to the thinkorswim desktop trading software platform. This is a paper money version, but what I wanted to show you is a common issue that new users of thinkorswim might encounter. First of all, you'll notice with our coaches that commonly the veteran users of thinkorswim will have a customized display of their current options position so that they can see things like the symbol and the quantity and how many days there are till expiration, the Greeks associated with those positions, the price that was paid or received for their options trades, and so on. But that's after this layout has been customized. Well, down below, you'll see something just a little bit more typical of a default display, so that if we were to go to something like, let's say, an Apple covered or just long call position, we can see the quantity, we can see the current market price, we can see how much that price has changed up or down, the profit or loss since we've opened position, profit or loss for the day, and the buying power effect. But how do we make it look more like this? Well, all of this is accomplished, and the first step is to make sure that you click on the little caret or arrow off to the left here, but that'll expose a customization gear. This is kind of like the settings on your phone. It allows you to change the settings on this software. So I'm going to click on the little gear icon, and that gives me a pop-up menu where it shows me the current column set. Now, the profit or loss open and day and the buying power effect are not customizable, but the rest are. So these are the current columns, but we can add to these. So how about we make these columns look more like these ones up here? So we can actually just click and drag this window around so we can see what we're dealing with. How about, well, first of all, we already have quantity. Let's add this days column so we can see how many days we have left on a contract. So let's select days. Let's add that to our column set. And we can also reposition it if we need to. So for example, our days up here are right next to the quantity. So we can select days, we can click a little up arrow, and that positions it right next to quantity. Now next up we have delta. Let's add our Greeks, delta, theta, and vega. So we can just erase the days here. Let's type in delta, and let's add delta, which can give us a gauge of how much our contract can make or lose. If the stock moves up or down $1, it could also tell us how much or what likelihood there is that the contract is in or out of the money at expiration. But how about we leave our delta, should we put it up there by days? Let's do that. And we're going to do a similar thing with theta, which is our options exposure to time decay. Let's add that. Let's move that column up next to delta. And finally, vega, which is our options measure or a gauge of our options sensitivity to changes in volatility levels. Let's put that next to vega. Now, a final column that many options traders find a lot of value in is just being able to quickly see the price that was paid or received when trading options. So let's look for our trade price. There we are. Let's add those to our column headings. And let's move that up. Once we click OK, we now have the, I'm going to customize these days even further. But once we've clicked OK, we can see all of these new columns already displayed. I will say sometimes, not in this case because we haven't added too many, but sometimes it can get a little bit crowded. But first of all, let me show you a little customization here. There are actually 2 days here. This is not the one that I wanted. We don't need the aggregation Let's remove that one. This gives us an opportunity to show how we can remove a column we don't want. And let's replace that with this one. There we go. Let's reposition this one right up there next to quantity. Click OK. There we go. All right. Now, once we've added those columns, we can reposition or resize those columns. Sometimes if we add quite a few, and there are lots more that might be added, it gets a little bit crowded and we can't see those. Well, for each column, you'll notice there's a little division, a little margin right between each. You can actually click and drag those left to right if needed to give more or less space to either accommodate the column heading, the titles can be longer, or the metrics displayed under that column. Sometimes it's a longer number, big or higher priced securities as an example. But that's how we customize the layout on the monitor tab. And what I'd like you to do is just keep an eye out for these mini sessions, these bite-sized sessions. There's actually a playlist where you can find similar sessions to this one on our YouTube channel. So make sure if you haven't done that yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's just Trader Talks Schwab Coaching Webcasts on YouTube. Give us a follow there, and you can find and follow more of these sorts of educational videos. All right, I hope this has been helpful for you. I'll look for additional material to bring to you. I also want to issue an invitation for you to find me and follow me in my regular webcast series. For example, I teach a regular webcast series on getting started with options. I have another webcast series called Getting Started with Thinkorswim. Love to see you on either one of those. But you can also find and follow me on social media. You can find me on X at Cameron May CS is my handle there. You can also find and follow me at LinkedIn. Go to linkedin.com/in/Cameron May CS. Everybody, thanks for giving me your time today. I will see you in a future video, but whenever I see you again, until that moment arrives, I want to wish the very best of luck. Happy trading. Bye-bye.